Hello class, today we are going to take up the next section of microorganism, and that is the fungi. Again, what basically the fungi are? They have cell wall also, but they behave animal-like. So they are basically the non-green heterotrophic organisms. Now when we take up the microorganism, I always emphasize that divide your whole study material into four major sections. Section number 1, your focus should be about the characteristic features. The focus 2 should be always the examples and general tendencies of that particular organism. Then your focus should shift to how it is useful to the mankind. And then, of course, definitely how it is going to harm us. So that is why all the microorganisms should be studied this way only. So now let's focus on the first aspect, the fungi. Fungi are non-green. That is very important. They lack chlorophyll. So when they lack chlorophyll, they are not going to show the autotrophic nutrition. So what kind of reproduction, nutrition they will have? They will be having heterotrophic mode of nutrition, where the organism depends upon other organisms for food. Now what about the cellular structure? As far as fungi are concerned, they can be unicellular, that is made up of one cell, and they can be made up of many cells, that is the multicellular organism. Definitely the mindset goes with the example. The unicellular example, the yeast, and the multicellular organisms being the mushrooms. Very important thing that we must understand here is the fungi are eukaryotic cells. That is, if they are eukaryotic, that simply means that they have a clear-cut nucleus. So this is an important feature we must understand. Non-green, heterotrophic. Since they are non-green, so heterotrophic, they can be uni-multi both, and they are eukaryotic cell. Now what about the examples? Examples are too many. But the ones which are in our daily life, they are yeast, the mushrooms, the bread molds, the alternaria, penicillium, rust, smut. Some are useful, some are harmful, but I have included all of them in one examples category. One simple kind of fungi, that the study of fungi is always called as a mycology. Logy means study and mycology is study of fungi. For your understanding, I must let you know that all the fungus, they have this thread-like filamentous structures, and they are called hyphae. And when it is a bunch of this hyphae, they become web-like. It is called mycelium. It is for your general knowledge. You need not to learn it and cram it in class 8. But yeah, later on you are going to find this definition. What are these filamentous structures? You are going to find it on your bread molds also. So these are hyphae, filamentous, long thread-like structures, and they are hyphae. I have drawn certain examples because mushroom, everybody can draw it. Every mushroom is not edible. Make it very clear in your kitchen. Some mushrooms are edible, only few species are edible, and maximum are poisonous also. They are having a saprophytic mode of nutrition. You have studied in class 7th that saprophyte means they derive their nutrition from dead and decaying organisms. Now these are four best examples. The bread molds, they are like lollipop structures, but they are not lollipop. You are not going to eat them up. They are bread molds. We throw it up. These are yeast, very helpful fungi, mushrooms. So my revision points, I have taken all the H here. What kind of habitat the fungi grows? Everywhere, but mostly they are on land. What kind of habit? They are parasitic also. They are symbiotic, as we have studied in lichen, algae plus fungi lichen, symbiotic relationship where both of the organisms are mutually benefited. Then they are saprophyte. We have talked about saprophyte, living on dead and decaying organisms. Saprophyte, sap. Now the helpful fungi. Fungi are helpful. They, like yeast, All the bakery and the brewing industries, they are working on this yeast. They are harmful, they cause a lot of skin disorders, and they grow best in dark, damp and warm places. Now as we talked about how they are helpful and how they are harmful, let's elaborate these 2 points. Now let me take up the first harmful effects. I have tried to grow a fungus on my bread and a piece of chapati, and you can very well see the white fluffy mass which later on become the greenish one with yellow thing, and then comes your black patches. You can see some powdery kind of growth here, right? So this is on my chapati, this fluffy cottony growth like thing. See, you can see it here. A cottony mass is there, then it later on becomes dark black in color, greenish yellow. These all are bread molds. So it has spoiled my food. What it basically needs? It basically needs the moisture. You need a humid environment. A humid environment is the best environment that a fungus grows. I tried to keep this slice of bread also here, but I could not see a good growth over here. Maybe it will take another 4-5 days to get fungus over here. So what are the harmful effects? Definitely it spoils the food and articles, like the articles made up of leather. Spoils food. You have seen such kind of growth on your pickles also, on your jam sometime. If it has been not opened for a long time, then you will find it there also. You will find how it can spoil your citrus juicy fruits, and this is basically the harmful effect. It spoils the food and articles. Another harmful effect, it causes diseases. Diseases, all organisms are important. Not only diseases of man, but plants and animals are equally important. Man, eczema, it's a skin disorder. Ringworm, small round structures, reddish patchy round structures are formed on your neck region or your hands or your elbow region, and this reddish tone thing, small blisters are formed, and these are ringworms. Athlete's foot, in foot area you will find this. You might have heard about the corns, CORN, foot corns. पैरों में आ जाता है ये. It's a normal thing. Now comes the diseases. In wheat, rust. In sugarcane, it's smut. And in potatoes, the late blight of potato, it was a serious crop disorder we had seen in our history. And in animals, most of the poultry animals, they are affected by aspergillosis, a kind of aspergillus. Now let's focus on our useful. The very first thing, we love fungi. We love fungi on our cakes, all the bakery products, the breads, the wine, beer industry, they are working on this principle. Now what is the principle? The principle is one simple thing. The fungi. Now let's talk about the very important function of the fungi, that is the yeast. It is a big industry. My dear students, all the bakery things, all the breads, the cakes, the preparation is not possible without taking the help of this wonderful unicellular fungus, that is the yeast. Now what basically yeast does? Yeast is feeding on the sugar, very simple thing, sugar, glucose, and then anaerobically, without oxygen, it doesn't need oxygen to eat this particular thing, and it produces two products, that is ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide makes the thing fluffy and rise up. So your breads become spongy, your pastries, they become spongy, only because that carbon dioxide has been produced, and when it has been baked, it goes out and makes the thing porous and fluffy. So that is very important thing. What is a basic thing? You have to understand this equation. Sugar eaten up by the yeast anaerobically. Don't forget to mention this, anaerobically, without oxygen. What is the result? Alcohol is produced here and CO2 gas is produced here. Now these bubbles, they will make your dough rise up. This will make your dough rise up. What is dough? A batter of flour or whatever rice flour you have taken, that is the dough. Now you have just kneaded your dough. Now you will add some yeast powder into it. What will happen? Without oxygen, the whole night, it will take few hours, and this dough will rise in size. And water has been produced. Because why it has risen? Because of the production of carbon dioxide. So how I love this fungi? Because it is going to give me cheese, vinegar, breads, bakery. Yeah, the wine and the brewing industry, they also depend on this fungi. So this is also important. And the very important use is in case of medicines. Now in this COVID time, we are depending on this antibiotics. We are, if feeling irritated with our throat, we take immediately the antibiotics. So what are basically antibiotics? They are the chemicals which we are going to take out from one organism, and it will kill or stop the growth of the other kind of microbe. Usually bacteria are acting against fungus are acting against bacteria, or they might be on some other species. And who was the man who started with this antibiotic concept? Mr. Alexander Fleming. Fleming, 1928, he developed the first fungus from, he took up this fungus, penicillium, and produced an antibiotic, penicillin. Have a difference between here. The fungus is penicillium, and the antibiotic he produced of this fungus, that was a mold, penicillin. And these chemicals will kill and stop the growth of the other microbe. This is very important concept. And nowadays a huge range of antibiotics are there. Don't take it without doctor's prescription. They should be taken, and its course should be completed. It is a 3-day course or it's a 5-day course. You talk to a doctor, and your doctor will let you know what kind of antibiotics you are going to have. For throat it is different, for toothache it is different, and it is used in varied ranges. So antibiotics are used not only given to the human beings, it is given to the animals also. So we love the fungus. Why we love the fungus? Because it is used to give us food also. Mushroom, you are taking it as it is, as a food. It is edible, and it is used to make a huge range of products. Antibiotics, medicinally it is used. And very importantly, we must not forget that fungi, along with other microbes, they decompose the dead organic matter of the nature. So this is, my dear student, the rough sketch of what fungus is all about. Again, I will repeat, divide your whole microorganism into 4 categories. Category 1 should be the characteristics. Category 2 should be the examples in the diagrams, because diagrams are very important sections. Then comes the uses, and then comes the harmful effect of the fungus. So your focus should not go beyond this. Thank you, class.